Hey, how's it going, everybody? We've got some Rocket League news for you all today in regards to a lot of different things that I've been like holding on to. It was just a matter of making sure we had enough so we could actually make a video out of it. We've got certain players being released from certain teams for reasons that I think I might have some insight into. You've also got tryouts happening for other rosters already starting to begin. Potential that Optic Gaming joins Rocket League Esports for a kind of crazy reason. Another organization that we haven't seen since like pre-RLCS possibly coming back in. And just a whole bunch of other stuff. So we got a lot of news to talk about in today's video. So let's get straight into it. What is up, everybody? Lawler here, your inside source for all things Rocket League. Like I mentioned in the intro, plenty of things to cover today, whether it be about roster changes that are happening, organizations possibly joining or coming back to the scene, as well as just some other stuff all around. Before we get into that, as always, if you guys would like to stay up to date, or if you want links to all the sources of the stuff I'm talking about, you can find those in the description down below if you'd like additional information that I may have skipped out on. Also, while you guys are down there, if you guys enjoyed the content, thumbs up, subscribe, all the fun stuff. Check out the social medias. And if there's things that you hear in this video that you'd like to talk further about, don't be afraid to come join us over on Twitch, where I stream live every day but Tuesday at twitch.tv/LAWL. I'd love to kind of sit and chat and we can kind of theory craft about some of the things that are going down. So always welcome to have you guys over there. There's been a lot of you that are coming over lately, which I do greatly appreciate. First things first, we're going to be talking about Alpine Gaming, a team that has definitely struggled as of late. Some ups and downs. They came into obviously RLCS Season 10 as the newcomers and some really promising results. And although at the first kind of half of it, or the fall split, they didn't really do terribly. I mean, top 8 is pretty successful, but they fell off pretty heavily. They've been struggling to kind of get back into that area for a while now. And without further ado, they do end up putting out a tweet that states that Percy, who in my opinion is definitely the best player on the team. When this team originally came in, a lot of focus was on Magic Bear because of the Fusion tournament Johnny Boy put on, where they did like crew battles. Magic Bear popped off in ones and stuff and was really able to steal the spotlight. But for me, Percy is one of those players that is very adaptable to any situation, similar to like Mist or Archie or other players that play that midfield really well. Very methodical, understand exactly what needs to happen, the small nuance things that I really appreciate in players. Percy does exceptionally well. You also look at his stats throughout the whole season. He's like top of the boards in everything except for I think assists, because he's usually scoring. So Percy to me has always been a player that if you want to build a team around a player, Percy is the type of player that you want. But they are parting ways with Percy off of Alpine. And I don't know if this is because they are trying to find somebody else. I personally feel that Percy understands that there is better opportunities possibly out there and doesn't want to break up the entire team. So he is personally taking the risk to leave the roster to go and find other opportunities ahead of the game. I do think Percy, again, is a very talented player. I don't think he'll have any issues finding a new team. But I feel like this was his own decision. I could be completely wrong on this. This is just my personal opinion about the situation, how I feel about Percy as a player who is extremely talented. Not saying Magic Bear and Jordan definitely aren't, because they are. But I do feel Percy is kind of one of those special talents that if given the opportunity to, he could have that Mist level of ascension, because they are very similar play styles. So it will be exciting to see where Percy ends up heading. I don't think he's going to have any issue finding a team. But if you have rosters like G2 and others that are looking still for those other rosters, it could be a chance to kind of pop yourself into like a top 3, top 4 squad, or possibly elevate another team to that level. So I'm looking forward to this one. I'm curious on where Percy's going to end up. Next thing up, and actually a pretty big topic of discussion, I mentioned Optic Gaming in the intro quite possibly has a chance to join Rocket League. And a lot of people are like, well, how the heck is that possible? If you guys don't know, obviously eUnited is one of the teams that is in the RLCS. And apparently they ended up proposing a merger with Optic Gaming. You guys don't know the whole situation with Optic Gaming and Hector Rodriguez, or Hex, who's with NRG. That whole situation is a lot to unpack, but primarily Hex is trying to acquire the franchise of Optic Chicago, and then allows him to do some namesake changes and everything else. But primarily it was eUnited that ended up kind of reaching out and being like, yo, like this could be a fun investment opportunity. Let's put these brands together. Let's make 2 powerhouse teams, and rather than being known as eUnited, let's go under the Optic Gaming brand and find a way to I guess help both by basically putting both Optic Gaming, Chicago, and eUnited under one like umbrella of ownership, which Again, that's a lot of different hats. I don't know how the heck, like business wise, that would handle like who does what, but with mergers, that's always the case. So it could be interesting if it does happen. They described this venture as an opportunity to, quote, help Optic grow by merging operations with the organization. They also pitched a team that would field in the upcoming Halo circuit. And if they end up doing this merger, obviously it takes care of a bunch of other different stuff, like what happens to the eUnited name because they're merged together. Do they keep that name? Do they go with Optic Gaming now? How does that all apply? And either way, I think it's a huge publicity move if it does end up happening for Rocket League, because technically that would be essentially Optic Gaming. I don't know if they take the Optic Gaming name or the United name, because the United's not small by any means. So it would be interesting to see on how this one all plays out. I personally think that it's very unlikely that it's going to happen, just because knowing Hex and what he has done throughout his career and what he is continuing to do, I don't think he really needs help with growing Optic by merging operations by any means. But I do think it's not a bad idea for United to at least express interest in being like, yo, this is something that we could do. Personally, just don't feel like it's going to happen. I think Optic is obviously like a massive name in the gaming space. And even though the whole situation with Hex being a part of Energy and all that stuff that went down, like it's just Optic is so big it stands alone on its own. So yeah, I just don't see it happening, but if it does happen, it'd be kind of cool. United's been planning moves over the past like 18 months and are trying to get involved in something pretty big. It looks like they were involved in a potential deal with Houston-based real estate investor Lee Zeben in September 2019, and reports stated that Zeben planned on buying the organization alongside former Optic associate Overwatch franchise owner of the Houston Outlaws. So it does look like both Outlaws and United, their plans fell through from what's reported in this Deserto article, but eventually stuff was sold to the Beasley Media Group by the Immortals Gaming Club. So obviously, if you guys know a lot of names in esports, these should sound pretty familiar. Back in June of 2020, United did enter an agreement to go public on a venture exchange with another company, but the merger was terminated in November due to difficult market conditions. So there was things from United that looked like they were trying to advance into and try to merge with other teams to provide not only more funding, but just additional capital to kind of expand and grow and do more. But market is a fickle mistress, apparently, especially with the amount of funds that some of these teams are needing. I mean, you're talking, again, just using Call of Duty as an example, because that's where Optic kind of thrived and all the other teams. I mean, Call of Duty franchises are like, what, 20, $22 million or something like that to have a spot in the franchise league. So yeah, stuff ain't cheap. You need some pretty big capital and some pretty big names to make that happen. If United's trying to obviously get involved and take advantage of some of this stuff as they push into bigger and bigger entrepreneuristic things, it's not always the easiest thing to do. But again, merging with Optic obviously comes with a lot of benefits, especially with the name and the brand rights and everything else. And who knows what end up happening if those two communities come together. So credit to United possibly doing that. If it has an effect on specifically Rocket League or what it would do to the team, it'd be interesting. But I personally just don't see it happening. But if it does, we could see some changes. And I wouldn't be doing my job informing you guys of stuff if I didn't tell you. So potential eUnited Optic coming together and possibly giving us something different. We'll see what happens. Last month, or a couple of weeks ago, I should say, Endpoint did announce that Virtuoso was no longer going to be on the team. And because of that, they've been actively trying out new thirds for obvious reasons, trying to find a new player. Shift did end up putting out a tweet stating that they have been trying out a few different people, primarily Thamway, former of Giants Gaming, Joyo from Howard, and potentially Breezy from Galaxy Racer. You look at the potential players that are trying out, and it honestly makes sense. Breezy, after no longer being with the Galaxy Racer team, has been kind of trying out different rosters, trying to figure out where he finds a fit. Thamway, now that he's former of Giants, going over to an organization like Endpoint, who's been consistently top 8, is a pretty good fit. So there's a lot of different options of what things are happening. Again, these are rumors. You can find examples of these scrims and stuff if you search for pros only on ballchasing.com and try to look up replays. And based upon like the people you look up, you can kind of find examples of like, yo, this third person doesn't normally play with these guys, and it's in a private match, and you can get some of this information from it. So we'll try to keep tabs on this throughout the few weeks of seeing if there is any kind of weird scrims that are going on with certain players. Again, it is technically rumors. Shift's got a pretty good track record. So again, it's just more of things for Endpoint trying to find a new third until they finally announce who it's going to be, which I don't think will be for a very long time. This offseason is going to make for a lot of crazy kind of moves here and there and a lot of rumors that go around. So again, we got to be a little bit careful before we take anything as like an official thing until it comes from either the players or the organization itself being like, yo, we're signing this player. So keep that in mind. Talked a little bit about Optic Gaming, but let's talk about a team that actually used to be in Rocket League a long time ago, in the RLC Pro League. And previously, this is before RLCS was even a thing. This is when I used to still compete, ESL weeklies and all that kind of stuff. SK Gaming was actually pretty heavily involved and had a team that had some not so positive things go down. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, maybe a history lesson, come talk to me about it on Twitch, twitch.tv/Lawler. Maybe I'll tell you guys a little bit of history about SK Gaming and the history of some of their players. But they put out a tweet basically stating that, hey, you know, on the 13th of this month, an announcement might be happening, and it makes some engine noises, which a lot of us are leading to believe. Like, so you're coming to Rocket League and you're picking up Aether, eh? And I think that's what's going down. There's been a lot of rumors about possibly Aether being the team that's being picked up. And I think many signs point to this. I don't think it's going to be German Amigos. Aether's had better performances in the matches that actually matter, which is, of course, the regionals and major situations as compared to something else. So if that's the case, congrats to Snasky and the boys, because that means they'd get picked up by SK Gaming, which is by no means a small organization. And it'd be awesome to see SK actually come back into the scene. So fingers crossed for that sake. Keep eyes peeled. Like I mentioned, it's going to be on the 13th of this month that announcement is supposed to happen. And as soon as it does, you can expect either on the 13th or on the 14th some sort of video detailing the information. Last but certainly not least is LAWL Next. If you guys don't know, is an organization putting on a $125,000 collegiate event. They've been announcing teams and casters and all that kind of stuff all over the course of the past few weeks. This is in partnership with Psyonix, and they're bringing a college student event, like I said, called LAWL Next Rocket League Spring Showcase, which will be starting in a couple days here. It's supposed to be starting on like the 11th or something like that. Registration ends on the 9th, if I remember correctly. So $125,000 tournament, a bunch of colleges. You have to be a student and stuff like that to sign up. But, man, Collegiate has been bumping. The CRL, I think, went to their prize pool of $75,000 in their third season. Now you've got a $125,000 tournament, which is pretty crazy to know that this one's even bigger than CRL when it comes to the prize pool. How all this funding and stuff is coming together, I can tell you guys, I did the CNC, which is the Collegiate Esports National Championships. And even in those, man, like the viewership and stuff on Twitch isn't that crazy, but they put those out on like actual television because it is collegiate, and they pull millions of viewers. It's actually insane, and not like concurrent, but like unique viewers, which is still really good viewership. So it will be interesting to see how these continue to progress. Obviously, the collegiate system in North America is a little bit more important because that's like our foundation for all of our sports, whether it be the NFL, the NBA, or, you know, whatever else you want to talk about that has a very big collegiate following with the NCAA. So collegiate's kind of a big showcase here. There's a lot of sponsors in it. There's a lot of eyes on it, a lot of money to be made. So there is a reason why these prize pools can be so large. But I mean, you look at like their team announcement, and it's what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. 22 tweets worth of team names. Like if you just take at this university, at this university, at this university, and you do that for 20 some tweets, that is how many teams are signed up for this. It's a ton. So again, a lot of people are going to be competing. You're talking first place. It looks like is going to be, it's $50,000 in cash prizes and a bunch of other stuff. How they get the $125,000, I don't know how it gets to be that total, but yeah, there's a lot of teams, a lot of signups, a lot of stuff for CRL or Collegiate Rocket League stuff going down. So pretty crazy. I think right now the casters, Puckett, if you guys don't remember, Puckett used to cast those ESL days way back. Puckett and Benson are known for doing the like shot across the world and the first like true big Rocket League esports thing, a little bit of Rocket League history there. But I think it's Puckett, Dazarin, and Stacks I think I've seen. I don't know who the fourth caster is going to be. I wouldn't be surprised if it's someone like Jorby or Corelli or something, but we'll see what happens. Should be pretty exciting. As much hate as the CRL scene gets, it's been getting better and better over the course of the past 3 seasons. So potential. I think it's not a bad idea, especially for people in the United States, that if like you're going to college, check out to see if your school has a college team, like a university team for esports. It's a good way to get some scholarship money. That's all I'm saying. That's going to wrap it up for this video of your Rocket League news. If you guys have any additional questions, as always, check out links to the articles all down below in the description, along with all my social medias. If you'd be so kind to give those a like and a follow. But if you do have any questions, drop those in the comments down below, or come join us on Twitch And feel free to ask while I am streaming every day but Tuesday. That's going to do it for this video. Again, make sure you guys like, subscribe, all that kind of fun stuff. I'll see you next time. Peace.